So what really is butter anyway? You got to realise you're asking a boy who grew up on a dairy farm very close to where I'm living now. I have many childhood memories of drinking raw milk, would you believe? That they're now telling us is really dangerous for us, but we grew up drinking nothing else but raw milk. I have vivid memories of my mum coming down to the dairy with a bucket and scooping up a bucket of milk straight from the cows out of the vat and taking it up to the house, and she would let it settle and the cream would rise to the top and she would skim that cream off and she would put it into an old butter churner that looks something like this. I wish I had a picture of the original one that we had on the farm. I don't, but it looked very much like this one here, and I have childhood memories of turning that handle for hours, taking turns with all my brothers at making the butter. And that's what butter is. It's just churned up cream. You may have had the experience at your place when you've put some cream in a mixer for a recipe, one of those automatic mixers, and you've left it and got distracted and come back and it's turned into butter. Well, that's pretty much how it's made. As the cream is churned up for long enough, it turns into globules of fat. And mixed in with that fat is a liquid that we call buttermilk. The buttermilk would be strained off and then you would have these globules of butterfat. That butterfat is then washed and then kneaded, and they would often add some salt to it for extra flavour and to add a little bit of preservative to the butter, and that's how we made butter, and that's pretty much how all butter is made. So butter's not really that hard to make, and you can make it at home. It helps if you have some sort of more modern butter churning machine. I will leave a link in the description to a butter churning machine that is inexpensive that you could get and use to make butter at your place. Now, butter is a great carnivore food. I mean, it's great for anybody to have butter, but particularly on a carnivore diet. It is a powerhouse of nutrients, of vitamins, of minerals, of just so much goodness, and it has incredible value on a carnivore diet. Butter is rich in fat. In fact, it's over 90% fat, and most of that fat is unsaturated fat. That's the really good fat that we love on the carnivore diet, and it just happens to be the fat that they told us was bad for generations, but now we know that was all a lie. So butter is full of that unsaturated fat, and that fat is going to give you an incredible boost of energy when you take it into your body each day. It's just delicious, and all of that fat means you're going to be so energized by a good slab of butter. There are also so many great vitamins in butter. The most prevalent vitamin in butter is vitamin A. It's one we don't talk about very much, but vitamin A is essential for healthy eyesight, and it's also good for your skin. In good old butter, there's also a lot of vitamin D. Most carnivores are very familiar with vitamin D. Vitamin D is great for bone health, it's great for skin care once again, and it's a vitamin that you get if you just go outside and sit in the sun. So you know what you could do? You could get a nice buttery treat, go and sit in the sun, and that's multitasking on your vitamin D. Really good idea, I think. We could also mention vitamin E in butter. Vitamin E protects the cells in our body, and it's another one that's great for our skin. You're noticing a pattern here. There's also vitamin K2 in butter. Vitamin K2 is great for bone health and also your heart health. Now, on top of all the great vitamins in butter, there is also a great list of minerals that are in butter. The first one we can mention is calcium. Now, calcium, as you know, is great for our bones. So if you've got osteoporosis or any of those brittle bone issues, then you need some butter in your diet because it's going to boost your calcium level. Phosphorus is another mineral that's found in butter, and it's also great for your bone health and also for your good old teeth. Butter contains so many healthy fatty acids, and it contains cholesterol. Now, don't shudder at that word cholesterol. Cholesterol is a good thing. Get that lie that cholesterol is bad out of your mind. Your whole body needs cholesterol, and you wouldn't be able to function without it. Your body makes it. And the cholesterol you eat has virtually no impact on the level of cholesterol in your blood. Another fact about butter is that it is very calorie rich. Now, on the carnivore diet, we do not count calories and we do not measure portion sizes. Those things are ancient history. We don't do that anymore. We can eat as much as we want. But I'll tell you, butter is rich in calories. In fact, just 100 grams of butter has over 700 calories. And what that's going to do is give you even more energy than before once you start adding butter into your carnivore diet. Now, the next thing we have to talk about is the fact that not all butters are equal. We have what I call conventional butters on the market, and then we have grass-fed butter on the market. Now, this is referring to what the cows who produced the milk were eating. Cows were never meant to be put in feedlots and fed grain. Cows were meant to be out in the paddock eating grass. And the good news is that when you have grass-fed butter, that is from cows that ate grass instead of grain, the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals are all going to be significantly higher in grass-fed butter than what they are in conventional butter. So the first thing to say here is make sure you're looking for butter that is specifically labelled grass-fed. I am just so pleased I live in Australia where our cows here are not in feedlots. They're out in the paddock eating grass. In fact, if I just turn my head to the right here, I can see the paddock here out in front of our front door, and the cows are out there. And you know what they're doing? They're eating grass, just as they were meant to do. While we're talking about different types of butter, I should mention this one here. This is ghee, which is a clarified butter. It's a lot more expensive than regular butter, but I'll tell you what, it's absolutely delicious. Ghee or clarified butter is made by a process where all of the milk solids are removed from the butter. This process makes the butter lactose-free, which is important for some people who might be lactose intolerant. It has a couple of other advantages in that it has a longer shelf life, so you can leave it in the cupboard longer without it going off. And ghee also has a much higher smoke point, which means it's great for cooking. What I love doing with ghee is when I'm cooking some steaks in the fry pan, once I flip them over, I put a big spoon of ghee on top so that while they're cooking, the ghee will melt down into the steak and you can just taste that beautiful buttery flavour right through the steak, and it's exquisite. You've got to try that sometime. Another type of butter I could mention is cultured butter. Now, cultured butter is made by Lurpak, which is a Danish company, and it has premium ingredients in it. So what they do is when they're making the butter, they add some premium live cultures to the butter so that it is in fact fermented, a little bit like the process of making yogurt. Lurpak is very easy to find in most Australian supermarkets. It has a lovely, creamy, almost nutty texture to it. I quite like it and enjoy it, and we use it often here at home. One of the things I need to point out with Lurpak butter, though, is that they have a label called spreadable. Now, if you pick up a spreadable pack of Lurpak butter and turn over and look at the ingredients, you know what you're going to find in those ingredients? Canola oil. Now, why they would do that, I've got no idea. I think it absolutely ruins what is a high-class quality butter. But it is a warning to us all. Anytime you see the word spreadable in a butter label, it almost invariably means that they have added some sort of oil into the butter to make it spreadable that you don't want in your body. We do not want seed oils in our body. They are poison and destructive. So make sure you look down the ingredients list to make sure there's none of those harmful seed oils in the butter that you are buying. So here at our place, I use butter for just about everything. I add it to the eggs when I'm cooking them in the morning. I put a bit of melted butter into my coffee in the morning. And as I say, when I'm making a steak at night, I serve it up on the table, and I love just to put a big slab of butter on top of it when it's ready to eat. Butter is just a carnivore superfood, and you've really got to get into some decent butter and include it in your diet. Now, I want to mention some of the butters that you can get in Australia, and this may be particularly relevant to people watching the video from Australia, but I'm sure that some of these brands in this day and age will be available where you are. But for the benefit of those people watching from Australia, I just want to quickly mention some great butters we have here in Australia that you might be able to keep an eye out for. The first butter I want to mention is this one here. It is Organic Times butter. And it is clearly labelled grass-fed, organic, and it comes in either salted or unsalted. I had to get the unsalted one when I bought this yesterday because they were out of stock on the salted one. The next one I want to mention is the Westgold butter. This is a butter that comes from New Zealand, and it's very easy to find. It's in all of the supermarkets here, and it is a delicious butter. It clearly states on the label that it is a grass-fed butter, and this is a rich, creamy, smooth, delicious butter that we use here at our place very commonly, and it's always good. Now, Coles, which is one of our biggest supermarkets here, also sell this one as their own brand. This butter is certified organic and it is salted. So it's a good butter and one of Coles' own brands, so you should be able to find it easy in any Coles store. Not to be beaten, Woolworths also have their own brand called Mainland, and this is also certified organic butter. Another brand commonly sold in the supermarkets here is this one here. It's called Macro Butter. Again, this is certified organic and it comes salted or unsalted. This one is salted. I should mention a couple of others that I haven't got samples of in front of me, but there's a company called Ashgrove. Now, I should mention a couple of others quickly. I don't have samples of these in front of me, but there's a butter called Ashgrove. This butter comes from Tasmania, which is an island state of Australia. They are world famous for their cheese, but they also make a really delicious butter. So if you come across that one, keep an eye out for it. There is another beautiful butter that you might find in Australia, and that is a brand called Paris Creek. Now, this one originates in South Australia, and this is just a deluxe artesian premium butter. So if you're lucky enough to spot it, get some of that and you will really enjoy it. Pepe Saya is another brand that I would call an artesian butter. These are just exquisite butters. You might find them in delicatessens. Very occasionally the supermarkets might get them in. But look, if you're driving through some little country town somewhere, keep your eye out because you never know what treasure you will find. I would love for you to tell us in the comments of this video, what butter do you use and where do you get it from? If you've got a source or a brand of butter that might help somebody else on this journey, then share that information in a comment below. I would love to invite you to join our Facebook group, the Carnivore Pensioner. This video is part of a playlist of videos on my channel dealing with all different dairy products. I have covered several dairy products and the most recent one was a video on eggs on the carnivore diet. I would like to say thank you for watching today. I will see you on the next video and until then, keep telling your story.